Yes, guys. Hope you're doing well. It's the Checker Flag show this week. I hope you like the new intro with the new music. Also, hope you like the little Christmas theme we've done with that. Put some snow on the occasion. It is Christmas after all. 15 days until Christmas, and it'll be a day I can enjoy on a Saturday and not enjoy any football or anything. But we're not talking about football. We're talking about the Formula One. And what could happen this weekend. It's going to be a massive weekend, the biggest title race we've seen since 2016, something like that, with Rosberg and Hamilton. So yeah, it's massive, and I'm hoping the result will be towards Hamilton, unlike 2016. Now the question is what about Max Verstappen? What are we going to see from him this weekend? The pressure got to him in Saudi Arabia. His driving, was disgusting, and was a disgrace to the sport in every sense of the word. And I'm not changing my opinion on that. And that's the end of it. But will we see Max do what Senna did in 1990 if Lewis is on pole? As Lewis, if he gets pole position, he will be on the outside of turn one. Matt and Max will be on the inside. Will be on the inside. So perfect place to take Lewis and himself out to effectively win the championship. To effectively win the championship, the driver's title, sorry. There's two championships, the driver's title by the virtue of the extra win. And the fact he's got an extra win going into this last race, and he's still equal points with Lewis. Sort of shows how maybe the mistakes he's made during this title race. Don't forget, this is his first season in a big title race like this, where he's had a good shout to win the title, and probably the favourite shout to win the title, because the car's been, for me, the favourite all the way through. But again, if Max takes Lewis out, then if he does, then they should do what Schumacher did. What should do what they did. What they did to Schumacher in 1997, which is disqualifying. From the championship. Which has only happened once in the sport, but if you do that sort of driving, that's what you expect. I've been Brethren John here, who's a Red Bull fan himself. How are you doing, my friend? You there, John? Very quiet. He's very, very, very quiet.
I was on mute, sorry.
There you
Greetings,
go.
good
How?
people. Greetings, Stephen. Thanks for having me.
No worries, man. You're always welcome. You're the massive co-host of this thing. I'm here to, you're here to get bantered. You know what I mean?
Bring it on. After all, it's the last race, right? Of the
Yeah.
season. Yeah. Just just amazing that I don't know when was the last time we had the last race determining the winner. I think that was 1971. Was it 76, 77? Not sure. But now, it's really exciting, and as a neutral, I'm sure it's very exciting. And as fans, of course, it's breathtaking. And how Max has not yet won it is just beyond me because
Mm.
of the car that he had, the mistakes that he made, all those mistakes that he did, like in Bahrain, whereby he illegally overtook
Yeah, and I think
Lewis.
he
And
threw in the wrong area, to be
yeah,
honest, because he
exactly.
quite
And
easily let him into turn one,
yep,
kept up with him into turn one, and then try and outdo him in turn four again with the extra
yeah,
DRS. But yeah, I think it's not just that though. I think there's just because of lack of experience. That's the reason I think why Hamilton's been able to claw it back. People might want to have a go and say it's because of Silverstone, and Silverstone was a pivotal race. Don't get me wrong, but again, that's 50 for me. It was always going to be a 50-50 accident. We said on the stream, a 50-50 accident, like because yes, Lewis could have been a throw over into the corner, but if you watch frame by frame, he was side by side, so he was entitled to space. And he was entitled to make that sort of maneuver.
yeah. It
And
was it
it was
was
Max who
a
turned the
racing
steering
incident.
wheel even further in to the corner.
Yeah,
So
and what also winds me up is why I don't understand the strategy behind Red Bull. They already knew that what's his name, Checo was already out, and then they put him on medium tires. And I just didn't understand. Of course, yes, short term gain, yes, was okay, but were you going to finish the race? I do not think so. So I think perhaps maybe the game board, almost like what they did in Austin. You remember, whereby
mm,
Max was gaining and gaining and gaining, but of course at the end
that
of
was a
the day,
reasonable gamble though, because they were always
yeah,
going to end up behind
that
the
was a lucky
Mercedes.
one. Yeah,
Because he knew if he pitted at that point, he would have ended up behind Hamilton.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. That undercut that he did, that early undercut. So for me, it was beyond me. Just seeing Red Bull putting him on
but I wouldn't.
medium.
If you're looking at tactics, though, for me, tactics for me doesn't just stem from what's happening on circuit. Off circuit, the way Red Bull have been. Now, if
Yeah.
you see the difference, Toto Wolf, the difference between Toto Wolf, might sometimes say like in Monza it was like a tactical foul, but that as far as it goes. They don't like try and use a simulator or anything like that. They just wait for, they don't say anything until the judgment comes out, and even then they don't say anything sort of inflammatory to spice up the situation. Right? Whereas Horner, like I mean, if you watch I watched like a little video clip of the sort of like trailer to the second half of the season that Formula One did. And one of the
Okay.
comments was Horner said, "Oh, it's about time they had a hard time. They've been having it far too easy." Right, and it's just like these sort of comments is like you're worried
Yeah.
about Mercedes all the time. You're not worried about your own job, right? And that's what I think's what's been Red Bull's downfall is that. And I also seen it when you won the titles with Vettel. Don't get me wrong, Vettel was supremely fast in 2011, 2013
Yeah.
with people wanting to
Phenomenal.
catch him. But 2012 and 2010, 2010 especially, your first title battle, you were, and even in 2009, I think in 2009, if you weren't too worried about what Bourne were doing, you probably would have caught them. If you did in two, in 2010, if you weren't worried about what Ferrari and McLaren were doing, you could have probably won that at a cruise because
Yeah,
you had so
indeed.
much of a faster car. In 2012, when the diffuser was taken away, the blown diffuser was taken away,
Yeah,
and you only had your
indeed.
double diffuser. You were first of all, instead of worrying about putting new parts in the car to make the car better, you were like, oh, it's not fair. They're just doing it to pull us back, and it was all the time with Hornet. It's like, oh, we're hard done by. It's always our fault.
But
It's
to be
always,
fair,
you know what I mean? It's just like, grow up. This is F1. Like, they change the formula every year to try and make it competitive. Otherwise, the fastest car, like, otherwise Mercedes would have won it this year, and the next year, and the next year, and the next year, and the
yeah,
next year. That's why
and
they
it
changed
become
this rule
boring,
this year. But did Mercedes moan about it? No, they just got on with trying to make the car better
Yeah, but for
in
me,
which way you can.
like for me, I understand. Okay, well, like I don't support him always whining and whining. Like just like you remember, like in Mexico, like
Oh,
Red
mate,
Bull
some of it was
dominated.
just like, are you in primary school, honestly?
Yeah, like he dominated, like Red Bull, like were dominating prior to Brazil, and after Brazil whining, and especially Qatar, whereby that they had put an inquiry, everything that I don't support. But one thing that maybe I would sympathize with them was about the flag, like those flex wings, like that were immediately removed when Mercedes complained, because of course, like for you, you had your dust, like the other season, and of course Red Bull wavered you, and they said okay until the last season. So like for Red Bull fans, I'm sure you would understand that they would say, why did you remove it immediately? I mean, honestly, like you gave Mercedes does, you see, for the whole season. So that is one of the things that, well, I may sympathize with them, but now not like trying to put Lewis under the bus, or perhaps like putting unproved like comments to say this is illegal, that is illegal, and of course like mocking like the stewards, because I mean honestly, what are you doing? Like what he did, was it in Qatar, you see? So
Mm.
yeah, it's quite something. Perhaps maybe it's the pressure. Maybe they're not yet used to the pressure. Like 2018 was the last time whereby they won a championship. So perhaps maybe pressure is getting up to them.
I was just reading here. We are now just days away from the climax. We've got who will take the crown, Lewis Hamilton. The Mark II 2 drivers heading to Milano equal on points. The Red Bull driver, however, has had the edge in terms of race wins this season. Right, so Hamilton's been quickest in FP2 so far. Verstappen has, the Dutchman, who is an aggressive driver anyway, has had a clear incentive to do that, as he will be crowned champion if they both fail to finish. Verstappen just claims it's just paper talk. Yeah, but I wouldn't put it past him, man. Meanwhile, Hamilton, may be given an engine change after Dave Kravitz claimed it's possible Mercedes could drop a new power unit in the car for Sunday's race in a bid to give the Brit the edge.
Huh?
Why?
Yeah, but of course, if it's given, I mean, with the track, come on, the track
No,
simply
why though?
supports.
But no. It's a bit difficult enough to overtake round here. Oh
But
no, don't
no,
no. But it's I
no,
can't.
no, no,
The engine's
no.
fresher. The engine's fresher than everyone else's too.
Wait,
It's
hold on for
already
a moment.
our
Hold on for
car's
a
already.
moment.
Our car's got the most freshest grid power unit on the grid.
No, hold on for a moment. This track, have you seen Sector 1 or even Sector 2? How it favors Mercedes. I mean, honestly, how it favors Mercedes. Because it's
Yeah, but
just
that's the
straight.
thing. So why do you need to change the engine?
Come on, let me tell you something. I've got a
John, if
theory.
it's but John, if you are already quickest in FP2 and FP1, Why would you want to take a 10 quid pay engine penalty
Let
when
me
it's
tell you
clear
why.
to see you are faster than everyone
Let
else
me tell
by a
you
mile?
why. Let me tell
It
you
doesn't
why.
make sense. If you're
No, let
three,
me
four
tell you
tenths
why.
quicker than everyone else.
Let me tell you why. You know, like was it in Saudi Arabia whereby helmets, you know, like helmets say that we're no longer worried about the engine, you know, like of Lewis, you know, because there are rumors that say that, you know, like it was designed in such a way that, you know, it has got high efficiency, but it quickly wears down, you see. And
Yeah,
they had
but
initially tried it on Bottas. Was it in Sochi? I don't know.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
they
yeah,
had
yeah. But
initially
hang
gave him.
on, John.
Yeah,
Right? That's why we use the old engine in Qatar.
exactly. So what I'm
So we've
saying
got
is
the
that
fresh. So that means we've got an engine that's had 2 races.
exactly.
It's not going to
But
wear
now
down in 2 races, mate.
which
Not when it
quickly
does 7, 8
wears.
races.
Yeah, like I said, these are just rumors. It's a
It's not going to
theory.
happen. It's not going
It's
to
a
happen.
theory. Or no.
I would be absolutely astonished if that
So
engine is so wear down they can't use it
so
for
why
as
did So why did Bottas change his engine? You know, like his new engine. You know, like after one race. You remember
do you
when
know
he took
why? Do
that
you know
penalty?
why? No,
Why?
John. In Sochi, do you know why they did it? They were
Yeah,
trying to keep Max Verstappen at the back.
yeah, but
Do you remember?
oh, okay.
Because it put him no, because it put him directly where Max Verstappen was, and the idea was just halt Max Verstappen's progress. So they knew that it was going to fly up the grid. It didn't work, but that's what they said. That's what they said.
That
They
is what
actually
they
said
said.
that's what they said at the time. We're doing it to halt his progress.
I don't believe it, mate. I
That's
don't.
what
Okay,
they
okay.
said.
Well,
That is what they said.
no. I'm not disagreeing with you, but now the issue is that, you know, like with all those experiments, right? Suddenly, then they gave Lewis,
I
you know,
would say
like a
I wouldn't
perfect
say
engine.
if they give him
But
another
these are rumors.
engine, he won't win it. He won't unless Bottas has a
No,
miracle.
I beg to differ. I beg to differ.
Well, Bottas would
Because
have to put it on pole.
huh?
Bottas would have to put it on pole.
It's too far fetched. It's too
It
far
won't.
fetched, yeah.
Nah, for me, it won't work. It won't work.
Because even if Bottas goes first, I don't think it will make much of a difference because
I'll be
we've
gobsmacked
seen.
tomorrow if they said in FP3 they've changed the power unit.
Yeah, but I won't be surprised even if they change. I know
No.
that you win it definitely because of the second mate. You know those changes that they made. Come on, it really
But
favors,
then
you
he's
know,
got to
like
try and overtake
Lewis.
Max on track.
If he did it, okay. Can you
No, but then
compare? Can
he's
you
got to
compare
try and overtake
Brazil?
Max.
Can you
He's
compare
got no,
Brazil?
no, no. He's got to overtake Max on track, right? And he's
Brazil.
already
Let me
he
tell you
tried to do
something,
that in Saudi Arabia, and look what happened.
Steven. Let me tell
Max,
you
no, it
something.
gives. Do you know what it opens up? It opens the opportunity for Max, like to quite literally throw it down the inside if he tries and gets by him and take him
Well,
out.
let me tell you something. Like, if he gets another engine, like he's going to have what 10 place grid, or perhaps he starts.
10, 10.
Yeah, come on,
But it's
he will
already faster.
recover.
It's in FP1 and 2.
No, he will recover. Let me tell you.
No,
I want to ask you a question. I want to ask you a question. Wasn't Brazil dubbed as, you know, like difficult, you know, to overtake?
no, they said it was good overtaking circuit actually.
Come on, man. It was dubbed
No,
as, you
John.
know,
They said no. They said they did said there were opportunities to overtake. They said on at the
on
start
that
of
straight, on
start
that
of the race
straight, right? On that
on
on
that
that
straight.
final
I'm not
straight, right?
joking. I'm not joking, John. That's what they said. That's why they
Come
did it
on.
there. Even Horner said it makes sense for him to do it there because it's an overtaking
No.
circuit.
I beg to
No,
differ.
Horner said that himself.
Okay.
Even Horner said it. They like it makes sense to do it there.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I am correcting you.
Lewis. Okay, correct me if I'm wrong. Lewis overtaking, right? Most of them, you know, were on that straight, you know, like whereby they are, you know, like
Yeah,
next to the pit
and
lane,
also
right?
they also all turn 4.
No, not 10-4.
Yeah,
That
there
was
were a few. No, there were a
on
few of
Max
them that into turn
Verstappen team.
4. No,
I
not just
remember.
Max
No,
Verstappen. There
like
were a
that
few.
was.
No. If you watch the sprint race, there were a few of them. They had to wait until turn 4.
ah, Wasn't it,
like
you
the
know, like
Ferraris
on
and
that
the
straight, you know, like
yeah
whereby next to the pit
Ferraris
lane?
and also the straight line speed and the McLarens. That's also a problem. Like McLaren have got such straight line speed as well.
Uh,
They're always an arse to overtake. No, I don't see it. I don't see what's the point. If you are fastest in FP1 and 2, then you've already got the advantage. Like, you know you're fastest in the first two sectors. There's
wasn't
no
Max
point to it.
fastest FP1?
Was he?
I don't know. I sent to be corrected, but I thought I saw somewhere whereby he was first FP1. If I'm not correct,
Well,
like
let
if I'm
me
not mistaken, it's just that I'm just coming from work.
uh, see he dominated FP2. Not just as Verstappen takes P4.
That was FP2,
And they're
right?
doing and do you know why? And do you know what's FP2? Do you know
Yeah.
what's critical about FP2? It's in the conditions that they're racing in. And in the cooler conditions, Mercedes are so much better.
But
They are
wasn't Red
so
Bull
much better.
doing
But
like
Red Bull need it hot.
long?
Red Bull need it hot.
Yeah, but wasn't Red Bull, you know, like doing, you know, like well, I stand to be corrected because I didn't watch it, but I stand to be corrected. But I thought that Red Bull were doing long range, you know, like distances whereby like to
Yeah,
see, you know,
yeah. But
like
they
how
also
it is,
do. No,
whereby
they also do their qualifying sessions in FP2 in Abu Dhabi.
because maybe
They
perhaps
always
they
do.
only got one shot, right? They only got
Yeah,
one shot at
they've
night
only
because
got that
tomorrow
shit.
at
They've only
night.
got that session. They've only
Yeah,
got that session. That's the problem. That's the problem
yeah, that's cool.
because that's
Yeah,
in the
that's
same
cool.
conditions. And like I said,
Ah,
the Mercedes in colder conditions are so much better. That's why
but don't
look,
you smell a red? Don't
Red
you
Bull
smell a
have
red?
even Red Bull have even warned Mercedes looking very competitive as it comes to the crucial qualifying.
Steven, don't you smell a red? Because you know, like even Esteban Ocon, was he in the like did he finish second or third? I'm sure he finished
Uh,
second or third. I don't know.
uh, Ocon leads Ocon and Bottas.
You see, so I'm sure it has to tell you something. I don't know.
That shows to me that Red Bull don't look competitive at all.
Oh, perhaps they send begging. We do not know
No,
at
they
all.
wouldn't sandbag in that session. I'm telling you now.
Yes.
They would not sandbag in that session. No, they wouldn't. That you
Okay.
honestly think that
Yeah.
the only session, right?
Yeah.
The only session, right, for that you've got the same conditions as what it will be in the race and qualifying, they would not sandbag in it. No chance. No chance. Not in your life. Not in your life. They wouldn't do it. They
It's
wouldn't do
going to
it.
be interesting.
It'd be interesting, but they wouldn't do it.
It's going to be interesting. I can't wait to see what happens. Yeah, for me, I just want, you know, like just a fair race, you know. Yeah, but one thing that I'm just against, you know, like of course, may the best man win. But the thing is that if Max Verstappen wins it, oh boy, we're not going to hear the end of it. I'm sure you know, like you
Oh,
still recall.
I wouldn't accept it. I've already said that. I've already said. I've already said. Now people might say I'm bitter and twisted. Like I'm not accepting it if he wins it this season.
Ah, come on,
No,
mate.
do you
If
know?
he
Do you
wins
know?
it fair
No,
and
no,
square,
no,
if
no,
he wins
John.
it
Do
fair
you
and
know
square,
why?
why?
No, John. Do you know why?
Why?
The way he's done it the whole season. That Saudi Arabian Grand
I'm
Prix
not a fan.
topped
I'm
it off.
not a fan.
Right,
Yeah.
Brazil, Saudi Arabia, Monza, right? Silverstone IK was 50-50. Imola, Spain. No, I'm sorry. Like
And
there's a
in
way of
Barcelona,
winning and a way of
like you
losing.
recall Barcelona, in Barcelona, whereby you know, like the starting, you know, like when they started,
Yeah,
and you know, like
drive so
that first
far up the
corner,
inside. Hamilton had to get like
yeah, yeah, he
get
had
up
to
the.
back off.
He literally had to jump off the road. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
no, no, no.
After
Come on,
what
mate.
he's done this season, I'm not accepting it. Not
Me
trying.
too. I'm not a fan, but I'm saying
I'm not
if he
accepting
wins,
it.
come
I'm
on,
sorry.
mate.
It's like what Rosberg did in Austria 2016. I didn't accept him winning it then. No. Especially then when he retired, and then the next season, he's up frigging Hamilton's arse saying, I love you, Hamilton, this and that, Hamilton, when you were slagging him off the year before.
No, I understand you, mate, but I'm saying actually being over the top,
Big
actually
up,
being
Amondi.
big up on
Amondi,
Wendy.
I hope you're well, mate. Do you know
Hope
what?
you're
I'm
good,
gonna
mate.
drop the link in the chat. Yank talking smack is now on. Like he's probably gonna give me a hard time, no doubt. But there you go.
I'll give you both a hard time. Max and Lewis are both absolute this season.
Yeah, fuck off.
What up, Connor?
Man, I told Steven, have you guys seen the back of Alonso's car?
No, I haven't.
On the back of his rear wing, it says El Plan. So Lewis is fucked.
Wow. He's just winding you up, right, Steven?
The funny thing is I don't think like F1 casuals or people who don't follow the sport religiously realize, but it's a full paddock rivalry because it's not just Mercedes; it's Mercedes with Williams and not Aston Martin, but Alpine on one side. Because everybody forgets who's Ocon's manager. It's Toto Wolff.
Also don't forget Aston Martin
and Aston Martin. Don't forget Aston Martin
and Aston Martin. And then on the other side, you have Red Bull, AlphaTauri. And then, I bet you they've probably got Haas in their frickin', and they're probably in Haas ear saying, hey, Nikita.
That's Ferrari.
I know it's Ferrari, but Ferrari, I feel like maybe more on Red Bull's side than they are on.
I would say, I would probably say.
Alfa Romeo.
You could probably say Williams as well because, like, they've got Albon going in their car.
Well, that would be next year, right? But now I'm sure definitely.
Yeah. The they've only got AlphaTauri to back them up.
Yeah, but I do think that it's going to be interesting. The teams that I'm most interested in seeing what happens, I think this race is decided by how they get past the back markers. How do they get past Haas? How do they get past Williams? How do they get past Alfa Romeo?
I got a feeling if Hamilton starts on pole and Max is second, I know exactly where this car's going. I know exactly where Max's car is going.
I would just like to make it known that it sucks because they're looking at the...
I honestly, if that happens, I'm sorry, I know we just spoke about this on Twitter, mate. If this happens, and I expect what happens, and he does a Senna in 1990 or Schumacher in 97, right? They should exact the rules, exactly what they did to Schumacher in 97.
Which is fine. I wouldn't be against that. I wouldn't say I wouldn't be against that because it's fully deserved. But I will say this, and Steven's going to hate me and probably kick me out of the stream for this. Even if Lewis wins his 8th title, he is still not better than Schumacher.
Get out.
Yeah, definitely.
You're talking about? He's beating every single record.
I don't care. No, because I like to look at. I like to look at how Schumacher did with cars that were not supposed to be world championship cars. Ferrari win. Okay. Was Ferrari a WDC winning car when he joined Ferrari? Honestly, was it?
Neither were Mercedes.
When he first debuted, when he was with his first team, was that a World Drivers' Championship winning car?
Mercedes.
When he first debuted, not with Mercedes, but when
Benetton.
When he was with Benetton and all the teams he's been with, it seems like he's moved to teams that were no right to be in the World Drivers' Championship discussion, and he's won 7.
Well, hang on a minute. But then I could throw this. Hamilton is the only driver in history, and yes, you could say he's had a great car since he first came in the sport.
And that's true.
Right? But then 2009,
his McLaren was shit. I will say his McLaren was god awful.
2009, that McLaren was awful. He even said
absolutely
during the race,
dreadful.
We need a new car. We don't need a new package. We need.
It took till 2019 for us for McLaren to get a good car. I know how crap McLaren's been.
No. Even 2010, it wasn't fully up to the task. He still won 4 Grand Prix. 2012 was probably the next best car. Was the fastest car you had on that grid that season.
Yeah, I just think that if you look at it,
Hamilton's fault. That was most down to team mistakes and constant reliability. Right. Then when he moved to Mercedes, McLaren falls off a cliff. Mercedes start winning races, and he managed to win his first race in Mercedes in that season. Only
Hold
one,
on.
but in that season.
Hold on, Connor. What are
Well,
you suggesting there? Are we doing a head-to-head Schumacher and Hamilton?
And also,
I mean, I was just bringing that up because for me,
Yeah.
I feel like even if he wins an 8th title, I don't see him as number 1 over Schumacher,
but
just
Connor,
because I purely
I
see.
a running debate. But Connor,
Sorry.
I will just.
Connor, can you add another point then to? Because I'm playing neutral. Yeah, granted, you're saying about the car. What other factors do you have to put in place?
For me, I also see the level of talent that Schumacher has faced, and Steven can agree. Schumacher, that throughout his entire career, he's got Senna, he's got Hakkinen, he's got
Damon Hill.
Damon Hill, he's got Jacques Villeneuve.
Damon Hill got chopped
he was
out
there
of
when
the
Raikkonen was there. He's there with Alonso there.
Mate.
I'm just saying, when you look at the talent that Schumacher had to face, especially when he was in the worst cars, when he was in the worst Ferrari car and the worst Bennington cars, that was some of the time when he was literally facing the best competition up and down the grid. You saw Williams doing really well. You saw everybody had top drivers.
That Spain race in '96 was brilliant.
Connor's coming stirring the pot.
No. But then I could throw in and say, like, how that you could throw in what I could compare to Schumacher, what he did in '96 in Spain, is like what Hamilton did in Fuji in 2007. Right, someone at that young age of 22 did probably the drive of his life to try and win the championship, and it was really the team that threw it away. It wasn't really down to Hamilton, right, that threw it away, right? So, and if you look at 2017 and 2018 as well, like Ferrari were probably level on par in 2017.
Well, we all know about Ferrari's engine in those years as well, though.
Yeah, but 2018. Right, for most of the season, even before the massive engine upgrade at halfway through the season, even at the start of the season, even Mercedes was struggling in cold temperatures. They were saying it was a diva of a car. They can't get it right.
Yeah, we know how much pit crews like to lie about stuff with their car to try and throw everybody off.
For most of that season, especially when it came up to from back Britain onwards, when Vettel won the British Grand Prix, right? They were, without doubt, faster than the Mercedes, and anyone that says they weren't, they're lying.
No, but for me, you don't have to agree. I'm okay disagreeing. I'm just saying that as of right now, even if he ends up winning another driver's championship this year, I still rate Schumacher higher than I have.
Trust me, I'm a Schumacher fan. There's always been an honest debate.
Connor, just to throw in thing. So you rate Schumacher just above as a better driver than
I think Lewis is right there. I think
Senna. Where is Senna in this thing?
Senna's top 5. You can't have Senna. You can't have Senna. I think honestly, Senna's number 3.
Indeed,
Senna's the third best driver. Senna's number 3 for me.
I think Senna would have stopped Schumacher winning so many titles.
I think he would have too, but the thing is, he wasn't there. That's the thing. You can't rate on what ifs. You have to rate on what a driver actually did while he was there.
Yeah, but hold on. Like with basketball, people judge by how many rings you got. I don't think that counts with the championships either, because you've got the cars. Sometimes cars. You've got Damon Hill. He's been a world champion.
I mean, that's for me why I rate Kimi Räikkönen in my top 10.
Yeah, he was.
Kimi Räikkönen's in my top 10 because
Damon Hill was world champion. Damon Hill was about to become world champion, and halfway through the season, he's told he's getting dumped.
Yeah, no, but that's why I'm saying I don't rate off drivers' championships, because Räikkönen's in my top 10 all time, and he only has 1 drivers' championship.
He loves it because of the pit radio.
But we won't even discuss why he won it. But I'm saying he's only got 1 driver's championship, and that's been highly contested. But he's still in my top 10 because he's been consistent. He's been a great driver. He's also known as one of the safest drivers to go up against. In the last 2 decades. If you want the cleanest driver on the grid, you pretty much always looked at Räikkönen. He didn't get into trouble off the track. He did well on the track. He just, for me, he's top 10 for me, and so I don't rate it off drivers' championship.
Also, just throw one more thing with Hamilton as well. Unless someone could really, really pinpoint an incident that was purposely done to try and win a championship in the seasons he's won a championship, Lewis Hamilton compared to Schumacher, right? Sort of what he did in 97, 94.
Lewis is a cleaner driver than Schumacher. I'll give you that
Schumacher, unlike Schumacher in 1994, Hamilton has always won his championships in the right way.
I also, though, have to say that you have to look at eras, and it's like in basketball, and even with football.
Oh, he's had his errors.
Even with football, the eras are different. You look at freaking Graham Souness when he was playing. Everybody was the dirtiest bastards on the pitch. So when you called someone dirty, it's like, well, everybody was, and it's kind of the same way with F1, where you look back at Schumacher. Schumacher wasn't the only dirty driver. Everybody was doing it. Everybody was doing dirty tactics. We're in a cleaner racing culture now than we were then.
Oh, yeah, because the penalties are much more strict.
Exactly. Right? So it's kind of hard to say, well, Mick was a dirtier driver, and so that's why I don't think he's as good, because that's how it was in that era.
But I can look at other instances where in Hungary, for example, he was given an opportunity to try and catch the Ferraris. He couldn't get and make an impression on them. So at the last lap of the race, he let Bottas back through to take the third spot. And people jumped up and down saying, "Oh, that's what happens if you lose the title at the end of the season?" He said, "No, I told him I'll try and catch the Mercedes, the Ferraris, and if I don't, I'll let him pass." Yeah,
that's the thing, though. All I'm saying is, like, we can look at different things. We can look at.
It's always going to be.
I just don't like looking at how dirty a driver is to make them seem worse. Because it's Verstappen, I get, because Verstappen is a dirtier driver than Lewis by a little bit, and they're in the same era. But when and brethren, don't even get me started, because they're just as dirty as Liverpool. So, but when you look at different eras,
look, Connor, we could put you full screen and start right now.
But I don't like. This is why even in basketball, there's the debate between Kobe, LeBron, and Jordan. Three guys from really, even though LeBron and Kobe played in very similar times. Yeah, Kobe started at a very different era. Jordan, his prime, very different era. Jordan, and you look at LeBron, his prime, very different era. It's the same thing with Lewis and Schumacher. Two very different times. Not only the cars were different, the drivers were different, the tactics were different. That's why you
say, like with Fangio, you can't really.
Fangio and Lauda, you can't compare it because it's completely different. Lauda was in his 40s when he won last.
Fangio, they were doing it, and they had to hold the steering wheel as a seatbelt.
Yeah, and look at Lauda. Lauda was 47 when he won his last World Drivers' Championship. Nobody nowadays is going until they're freaking mid to late 40s.
To be honest, and people say for sporting comebacks, I was on a Monday. You were on that show last night. You were trying to sort of go on about a sporting comeback on Charlie's show. Lauda 84 and 77. Okay, Lauda had that accident in 76. Was back in 42 days. Lost the championship by 1 point. Yeah. And then the next season, blitzed the field.
That's why for me, I don't like rating.
They came back to McLaren and blitzed the field then by half a point.
For me, I like saying the greatest of all time of their eras. Instead of saying the greatest of all time ever, I like to say, you look at Lauda as the greatest of the start of Formula One. Lauda is the greatest.
Schumacher, at some point, like in the early 2000s, the types of cars that probably you were driving, you could compare the two a bit, because when Schumacher stopped,
look at rule changes and stuff like that as well.
Yeah,
and
but
tactics changing and team orders not being allowed anymore.
Yeah, but the thing is that like even team orders weren't allowed when Hamilton won his first title, and they were still refueling, same tires, and same even display on the even steering wheels. It's not so much non technological it is now. So you can look at Schumacher's era a bit and look at Hamilton's early era and compare the two.
Yeah. This is what I'm saying. When we have this discussion about different eras and everything else, you have to throw in all the factors to get some balance. Yeah. Because you could say the Boston Celtics, some of them got what's his name? Got 11 rings, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, Bill Russell's got literally got. There's a joke that he's got one. He's got a ring for every finger, and then one for his buddy down below is where the last ring is held.
There you go. But you see what I'm saying? But so it has to be the eye test, has to be the greatness, longevity. So many factors you have to put in, and with F1 it's even more difficult because you have to talk about the cars and something you said, Connor.
And also,
you made a good point by saying
the
competition that Schumacher was up against, and that's something I haven't really considered.
A lot of the competition in Schumacher's era is top 20 all time.
Well. I make another point. People saying that the cars
today's era, find out who's great. Vettel will probably be one of the greatest of all time.
Yeah, oh my gosh, Vettel's top 10 for me as well.
Yeah, so that's in Hamilton's era as well. He started the same year as Hamilton. So he's got
Amundi,
well.
I wanna make another point as well. Is people might say it was a lot more difficult to drive Schumacher's early cars, and you can hear that a little bit, but you could, and like, don't forget the 94 car was actually a illegal car because it was still maintaining some of its driving aids from the year before, right? So you can really look at Benetton on that one, but they still won it in 95 anyway. So, but if you really wanted to, if much as they can say they were more difficult cars to drive, but then if you look at Mercedes and the cars they have now, the amount of settings, the amount of like setting changes, what they've got to remember, what they're doing a lot, making sure they're in the right engine modes, they're in the right power ERS mode. They're making sure they're
there's so much. Oh yeah, it's so much more complicated now.
Yeah, imagine you've got to adjust the brake balance for every single. Say you're going around Singapore. What makes Hamilton?
We saw this with Lando Norris in his last. There's a rumor right now with Lando Norris, his last race in Formula 2. He crossed the line in third and then immediately spun out because a lot of people were saying that as soon as he crossed, he switched his brake balance up. His brake bias, he changed it because he was in cool down mode and it made him spin. So I get that, but I would rather never have the discussion again for who's the greatest of all time. And I would rather say, who is the greatest of all time for Lauda? You can say, okay, Lauda was the greatest during his time. You can say Schumacher was the greatest during his era. Hamilton's the greatest during his era now. Go era by era and say who is the greatest, because that even can be debated. You have Senna, you have, you have Damon Hill, you have Jacques Villeneuve, you have so many different drivers that can be debated. In each era, I'd rather debate the eras alone than debate eras that are comparable.
To land is the one I wanted to land on is that when you're making all these changes and all these notes that you have to come down, because someone said there's so much you've got to learn to get the perfect lap. You've got to note it down to then practice it time and time again. And that's why they have the free practice. And once they said they want to cut down to an hour, teams and drivers are like, no, we can't do that. We need practice. They want as much practice as they want to get the perfect lap. So
I'm so much happier that we have progressed where we have, though, because the cars are so much safer nowadays. Cars are so much safer. We can just look at literally Grosjean. Look at just Grosjean's incident by itself.
That's why when I watched when I saw Hamilton's lap in 2018 at Singapore, making all those changes, but not one wheel spin, not one oversteer, understeer, when he was supposed to be fifth or sixth.
Can you guys do me a favour?
And that sort of lap time is unreal.
Can you just give me a brief summary of how a driver, even though he might know the course, what would it be the sort of calendar throughout the week? What would be his rota? How many times would it be in a simulation? How many times would he sort of be going through the wall, walking or riding a bike through the course? What do they have to go through, each of these drivers, to sort of master the course? So come Sunday, they're on it.
Well, most drivers like to use the simulator to get a sort of if it's a new circuit. No, but even Hamilton, it's not even until this season Hamilton said I really had to use the simulator to try and get every single bit of performance out of this car, because he haven't had to use it before.
I'm surprised Maspen didn't use it for the race for last weekend. He even admitted he'd never been in the simulator for it.
Yeah, but even if you've got a new circuit, most drivers would like to spend a bit of time in an hour or two in the simulator to get
just literally running lap after lap after lap,
and then build up. And then it's gradually those sort of circuits, especially street circuits. It's all about confidence. You gradually build that confidence by doing lap after lap after lap.
I think the most underrated part of preparation for any driver is the walk around.
Yeah.
The walk where they literally will take you get the drivers with their engineers and everybody, and they'll walk the entire course together and go, okay, this turn, we want a braking point here. We want to hit the accelerator here. This is where our line needs to be for this. If we're trying to make a pass, the safest way to do it is to go around or to go inside. You want to brake here if you're making the pass. On the inside, you want to brake here if you're making the pass on the outside.
But again,
and they'll literally, every single bit of that track has been thought of with the eye test, not just going and doing data, but they'll actually use the eye test.
But then Connor, again, that's also down to what it's all down to driver preference, what he prefers. Some drivers don't prefer that and rather just do it in the simulator.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So it's depending on who likes what.
I see the a lot of the greatest drivers though, and the better drivers always do the walk arounds. You see Hamilton do a lot of it. Schumacher did a lot of it. And I'm not going to say he's great, but you see a lot of the top drivers right now in the Drivers' Champ. Verstappen always walks. Norris always walks. You always see Ferrari boys always walking. A lot of the top drivers are always walking that course.
Yeah. So do you think because they have like sometimes they have a fortnight between each race, is that because of the preparation so intense? Like if you do it weekly, it's going to be
not so much the person. It's that you got the preparation for each race is hectic. Then you've got the media side to it as well. They could spend about an hour or two.
I don't. This is why I don't blame Kimi Räikkönen for his attitude at all. Because if you have to, for how long he's been in this game, for how much he's had to deal with the media, I do not blame him at all for being exactly how he is.
It's quality. It's a bit
different. Have you seen the Question the Grid like little mini series they did? They were doing one where they had to guess every single driver's champion from the most recent all the way to the very first year of Formula One. And Raikkonen was in it up until the year after him. And they finally told him that if he got it wrong, he'd be allowed to leave. And so he guessed that 2006 was him. Just so that he could leave. He's like 2007 Kimi, 2006 me as well. Oh, you got it wrong. He's like, oh no. And then he left.
Quick question. I met a Finnish fan at the Watford game. He was a journalist.
Hang on.
And I asked him, Häkkinen or Raikkonen, who's better? And he said he couldn't split them.
Häkkinen.
Why?
He had to fight Schumacher.
See, but Raikkonen also had to fight Hamilton
in a Ferrari.
And so did Raikkonen in a Ferrari.
Hamilton was in his Hamilton was in but then to be fair, McLaren made the mistakes that they made. Two, like Hamilton was in his only first season. He was in his rookie year.
Wasn't he still at Ferrari when Hamilton switched to Mercedes, or where did he move to when he was at Mercedes?
He was at Lotus, I believe.
He was at Lotus. For me, recency bias and being a person who's not, watched for super, super long. I've only been doing this. This is my second season watching. Recency bias makes me want to say that it's Raikkonen, and it's also because he's in my top 10 all time. But I can definitely see it's like the Schumacher-Michael debate, from the Schumacher-Lewis debate. I can see why there's points for each side, and I love that people have their own opinions and that people are allowed to disagree. But for me, recency bias and a little bit of someone who's not been watching for as long, I think Raikkonen's has been better because.
Sorry, guys, can I ask another one? We done with Charlie the other day. We done a selection of the top drivers on the grid in order, and I've got it somewhere. But like,
I called you guys out on it. I remember because I commented on it.
Okay, yeah. So can I ask you guys to go from 1 down to 10? Forget the 20. 20. And I also want to know if Bottas ain't in the top 10, where would you put him? So from 1, I'll ask you each one. 1, Lewis.
Lewis. Yeah, number 1's Lewis.
Steve?
Number 2, I'd say Vettel.
On the grid today. On the
grid today. If they were in the same exact cars.
They all had equal cars. Who would you be picking if you were manager?
Sebastian Vettel.
So
Vettel. He's been so good in that Aston Martin.
He's won 4 titles as well.
He's won 4 titles, and he's even been good in the Aston. He's been winning. He's been literally on the podium so much in an Aston Martin in his first year with a new team after being at Ferrari for what, 5-6 years?
Yeah.
So number 3 is Alonso.
Blue Podcast says hi, Connor.
Alonso's Turkey, Alonso's just
Alonso number 3.
They got Big Blues podcast as well.
He's unreal. Alonso's unreal, man. His defense of Lewis Hamilton is one of the greatest lap by lap defenses I have seen ever.
Annoying.
I know it was. I was dying of laughter watching you scream at him.
Well, I'm surprised because a lot of people would be saying Max is 1 and 2 with Hamilton.
Max is great. Max is great, but he has his weaknesses.
So Vettel and Alonso
we would put Max higher if he just accepted when he has lost a battle.
Yeah.
when there's Hamilton,
he needs to be a safer driver.
It's nearly 2 lengths cars width of you, right? It's clear in front of you. You back off and you just accept it and try and do it another way. Right?
So who's number 4 then?
You don't just drive yourself down the inside, nearly taking everyone out.
Number 4.
This is why if Hamilton starts. Sorry, this is why if Hamilton starts on pole,
it's over
in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and Max is second,
he's going to try and take him.
He will die inside, not caring if he takes Lewis.
Well, that's another reason why it's important where Perez finishes. A lot of people are saying that Perez may just not break in that first corner because they know they're pretty much screwed the world drivers out of the constructors. And as a McLaren fan, I can say that we've lost third in the constructors. Ferrari's completely taken it. We're not going to touch them, and it's because of the fact that we've had literally the most unlucky second half of the season I've ever seen from a team.
Look at FP2.
Look at Blue Podcasts. While we're on the subject, he's posed a really good question. While we're on the subject, the bottom one.
You guys want to win Hamilton for me? Do you guys think Matt will drive extra hard on Sunday? Because
I want Verstappen win purely because I just want somebody different.
I feel it will be Senna 90-90 if he does. If he gets the opportunity. I wouldn't. After what he did in Saudi Arabia, I wouldn't put and Brazil. I wouldn't put it past him.
So it's all right. It looks like all right. So what you're saying is, if Lewis is ahead, Max doesn't have confidence.
Lewis is on the outside. If he's first, he's starting on the outside.
If he knows he can't get past, he will take him out.
He's on the inside. If they get the same start, Max will get a chance to dive down the inside. Right?
He's 0.6 quicker right now. After
if
FP2.
He punches Hamilton's tire or takes him out, he's won the title by the extra win.
Yeah, but haven't they already said, the management said, if something like that happens, there will be
they'll be deducting points. Yeah. So
I
don't think he will purely because of the fact that he knows
they did to Schumacher, which is disqualifying from the championship.
Yeah. They've said that though. If whoever takes out the other will lose the drivers' championship. So I think that is the only reason why we don't see it happen. And if we do see an accident happen, I think it's purely accidental, and they'll crack it up to a racing incident, or it'll be someone else taking out one of the top two, whether that's, Bottas taking out Verstappen, whether that's Perez taking out Hamilton, or you see AlphaTauri taking out someone, or you see Ocon taking out someone, or you see Williams taking out someone. It's a battle of more than just the top two. There's the second drivers behind them and the sister teams to them as well.
I think personally the driver won't want to get involved.
Just on it being cynical now, if we're talking about overall for the sport, forget about the thing, for the sport, what is best for business? What's best for the sport? Who should be champion?
Fight it out till the last lap.
Yeah, I think best for the sport. Best for the sport, I think, is Verstappen.
Verstappen, okay, Max to win. Best for the sport.
I think the best for the sport, as much as Hamilton is a great driver, I think a lot of fans will come to the sport seeing that there's finally been a different winner after so long of, because I love Lewis. And you know this. I'm a McLaren fan. I'm a completely even Lando called out and pissed on Max a little bit in his press conference at the beginning of the week, and I was cracking up about it. I'm a McLaren fan, so I'm rather neutral in this whole debate. And I love Lewis. I think he's a brilliant driver. He's a great guy. But I think what's best for the sport is seeing a different winner. We saw it with Schumacher.
I get that, but you'll see probably a different winner next season with a whole new regs and new cars.
But we saw with Schumacher, a lot of people hated on him at the end because he kept winning. Yeah, when you keep winning, you get hated, and more fans will come if they finally see someone different has won because they'll see.
The only thing I'm saying is that I'm happy. I would rather just. I know because I'm a Lewis fan, but I'd rather just see to see if the record can be broken. That's the one thing everyone's. If
you always want to see your own guy break the record.
For the sport, you're a businessman.
I know for the sport. Max would. I know for F1. It would probably be better if Max won it, right?
Okay.
But for two, right? Anyway, next season you're going to get a different winner because I don't think that Mercedes and Red Bull are going to stay at the top.
And I don't think Lewis is gone. I think Lewis is gone after next year as well.
There'll be more teams in it, and if Hamilton wins the 8th title this Sunday, I don't care what happens next season. I'm happy.
Yeah, I think the reason for Max, you see a lot of casual fans don't even look at the points and how close the race is. They'll just see Lewis was on top, Max, another guy that's not Lewis is in second, and they'll see, of course, Lewis wins again. Even though the casual F1 fan, Steven, can agree, they won't look that it was super close and that they were tied going into the last weekend. They'll just look at what the end.
Or they won't look at the fact that Hamilton had long COVID.
They won't look at this.
Or the fact that Hamilton had a slower car for most of the season.
And they won't look at the facts that Verstappen was crashed out of 4 or 5 different races this season by Bottas or by Hamilton.
Max should have had this wrapped up by now.
Yeah, well, he probably would have. He probably would have if it wasn't for Bottas not braking and going into the back of him back in that race. I hate you for that because that screwed Norris. That Norris for the rest of literally is what started his bad luck. That was the first race that he did not finish in the points.
You've won a Grand Prix over Ferrari and you still can't finish in front of them.
Okay, I'm just saying.
You even got a 1-2.
Bottas.
Go on.
Literally was the reason that he has stopped.
Let Mundi go. Go on.
Obviously, you know what? I'm just coming in my pants having you two on here battling like this because I respect both your knowledge on F1.
Because he just winds me up all the time. So I
know. But it's good TV.
Brother John's never on.
It's such good viewing, you know. And I've read John's probably sat back to being a spectator.
Well, he's got popcorn.
Right, here's the question. I want to know: does it damage with what happened with Rosberg when Lewis was going head to head with someone, and even like in 2007 as well when he was going against Ferrari? Does it damage his reputation, like his legacy, if he doesn't win against Max? Will people start saying, "Well, when he was up against someone equal to him, he couldn't win"?
No, because you have Sebastian Vettel, who was just as good in the Red Bull.
I will sit into the argument about the point that Hamilton throughout this season had no right to be in this position.
No chance. Red Bull was so far ahead at the beginning.
They were Red Bull faster before the start of the season.
Yeah, miles.
Right? And then they had 2 trucks of upgrades in Austria. Not even.
I remember you complaining. Was it Azerbaijan? You were begging Mercedes to finally upgrade something.
Yeah, I was.
So for me, I look at it as
it was Austria. I was begging them.
I think honestly, this improves Lewis's legacy, no matter if he wins or not.
Yeah, the fact he has he's not been well half the season, and people that say that's bollocks. Look at Hungary when he finished third.
Oh, he collapsed.
He couldn't get on the podium. He needs to see a doctor.
No, but I think either way, because if you look at it, you cannot say that Lewis had the fastest car all year. That's the reason for me.
Look at Saudi Arabia as well. If you look at Saudi Arabia as well, he had to take 5 minutes to get a breath.
Yeah, he was gassed.
Because of what happened to Max. He was absolutely knackered.
He was absolutely exhausted.
He's been suffering from long COVID since he got it, right? Yeah. And the fact he's managed to do that in a slower car with long COVID and still be equal points from Max is actually looking down on Max.
It's actually incredible.
That's actually look.
That's what I'm saying. Like if you look back at his titles, a lot of the titles people go
because you'd actually be beaten by someone who's ill.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you look back at his titles and previously, he's won a lot of those championships because he's purely had the fastest car because he's been with Mercedes. This is the first year though that win or lose, he was in it till the very last weekend, or possibly in it, came back and then won it. Not only while having long COVID, but more importantly, you cannot say that he had the fastest car every single race all year. You can say Brazil, miles faster. Saudi Arabia was definitely a faster car. But you cannot say that pretty much the entire first half of the season that Lewis was in a faster car, which you can say for the rest of the year.
Take a 10-place grid penalty right now for a fresh engine.
Huh?
There's a rumours that they'll take a fresh engine.
Who, Mercedes?
There's rumours. Mercedes on Hamilton's car. I mean that they're fastest by a mile in FP2, where the conditions are the best suited for our.
I think that's dangerous.
Qualifying the race.
I think that's dangerous.
I don't think that says a dangerous idea. No, because also if you look at FP2, Red Bull was struggling.
6/10 back. I saw the fight.
And they do short runs. Their qualifying laps in that session because you've got similar conditions to qualifying. So the fact you're 3-4 tenths off shows that you haven't got the pace. It's more like Spain.
Well, the reason I think it's dangerous is not because of the speed difference. I don't think it's because
they get a massive advantage in straight line speed, which will benefit in 2 sectors.
Oh yeah, but that's not why. That's not why I'm saying that it's a dangerous move. I'm saying it's a dangerous move because we're in the last race weekend, where lots of teams are battling for spots because we all know money comes from that constructors.
Yeah, I know.
Ferrari and McLaren are battling for P3 and P4. Tauri and Alpha Tauri.
Here's the other thing. As a driver, would you want to be the one that stops someone winning the title?
That's the thing, though. It might not be on the title race. The thing is, if you're battling for,
I'll be like, get out.
I don't think they give a fuck. I don't think, as a driver, I don't give a fuck.
That's why Esteban Ocon just like, I let them two go to let them have their own race.
That's the thing, though. If I end up taking out a guy, if I'm battling, so say right now the difference between Ferrari and McLaren is 12 points, or even. Let's look behind them. Let's look at the best of the rest.
You have to say even if they are, because it ain't happening.
No, but okay, so we can even look at Alpha Tauri and Aston Martin and Alpine. Pretty similar in points when it comes to the constructors. So say I'm not even going to say Ocon, but say I'm Sebastian Vettel, seasoned vet, been in the game for forever, won 4 World Drivers titles, and I'm battling in P7. Hamilton's taken that grid penalty and gone 10 places back, and he's in P10. I'm in P7. I'm battling with Pierre Gasly, and he'd be in 11th, but still. So I'm battling with Pierre Gasly for that spot. And say if I get to 6th,
he could quite easily jump him into turn 1.
Oh, easily. But say that if P6, whoever is P6, wins that higher spot in the constructors. So if Gasly stays ahead, Alpha Tauri's higher. If Vettel gets it, then you see Aston Martin go higher. And while fighting, I accidentally take out Lewis Hamilton as he's trying to get around because he's trying to go up. If I'm Vettel, I don't fucking care about Hamilton. My focus was not on him.
Vettel wouldn't get involved.
That's the thing, though. As a driver, I don't think they give a fuck. If you're in a
hang on. He's knowing that he failed with Ferrari because of Hamilton. He's got more. The funny thing is, he should have less respect for Hamilton because he denied him in the championship. But actually,
they're best friends. The only person that's got his phone number is
that's the story. That's the weirdest thing about it. And
the only person that has Lewis. It's been admitted by every person on the grid. The only person that's a driver that has Lewis's phone number is Sebastian Vettel.
Wow.
The only person on the entire grid.
That's the thing. As much as he denied him winning a championship with Ferrari, he should hate Hamilton for it.
All right, let me switch up the drivers. Let me say that it's Lance Stroll.
He hates that.
I'm going to jump on the stream. Can I just ask a couple of questions, please?
Go on. We'll wrap it up in a minute. Anyway,
what impact on the season has this fastest lap, the sprint racing had? And do you think it's going to have an impact on the title deciding when we look back at the races and where points are being picked up? And do you think it changes a lot of strategy as well? Do you think are you for or against? And what impact has it had on the season?
Sprint races? Well, it only has had the impact of 3 points, like 3 points for first place. If you win by 7 more points, it really doesn't make a difference, right? Because Verstappen's won. Bottas has won both of those races, right? And Verstappen's comes second in
one.
Both. No,
because you had Ricardo. That's why he got P1.
Bottas won it in the sprint race in Monza. Then he got
but he had Ricardo behind him, and that's why he was able to go on and win it.
Oh no, I swear he had Verstappen behind him because Verstappen started on.
Oh, that's right. Ricardo went by both of them at the start of the race. That's what happened.
Bottas had a penalty, engine penalty. That's why.
There we go. I knew there was a reason that Ricardo ended up just getting
won both races. Verstappen's only won one, so he's gained 3 points out of that. He's then gained another 2 points, so 7 points. So if Hamilton beats him, fastest lap, I don't know who's had the majority of fastest laps.
I think it's been Lewis.
Maybe, but. Not really, because it could.
So has it had much say? Because we're level on points.
Well, the title race is so close; it will have a say.
Yeah.
Are you for or against it?
I'm for it. I've been the sprint races. I'm not. I'm more a traditionalist. I'm more it to be a qualifying and a race. I love to see it trialed, not implemented. Trialed next season when the cars are a lot closer together, because that's when they should have done it, because that's where you're going to get more overtaking and more racing, because the cars are closer together with the new rules and the new cars, right? And I've said that at Silverstone it was like a procession. The only thing that only changed was Perez spinning out.
Yeah.
Like, so, like, for those circuits, it's better when the cars are closer together. So next season, they need to try it again.
And the best places to do it are the places that there's a lot of overtaking possibilities.
Fastest lap, I do believe you do get all three, including the fastest lap. You should get an extra point. Like, so, like, I'm happy with that rule. I don't got a problem with that rule. So, like, in the end, whoever's got the most fastest laps, it will depend. It'd probably be the same in between. There's not too many difference. So it'll be the difference of about 3-4 points, something like that. So if Hamilton finishes first and Verstappen finishes second, if he's a gain of 7 points, even if, it wouldn't make much of a dip. Like it's made a difference.
I've got to go. Connor, yay or nay?
For me, I do think it's had a major impact on it, and it's because one thing we saw. Well, and here's one example I have is what happened with Monza. Like you said, Lando ended up in front of Hamilton, and then literally just he could not get by Lando for so long in Monza. I think that's definitely something that had an impact on the championship. I love it. I think it's a brilliant way to do qualifying because instead of doing what is your fastest lap, it's literally taking it and saying, can you race and still be – it doesn't matter if you're the fastest lap. Can you race head-to-head and still be the best on the grid? And that qualifies you. So in that sense, it's more of a realistic quality than just a go do a lap and whoever's got the fast lap. Because Mercedes could be the fastest car. But we've seen what happens. Bottas has won both of them, But the fastest guy on the grid, Lewis, and the second fastest guy on the grid, Max, neither have won them.
Hang on, but then you can also say is like when you've had instances like Singapore 2018 where Mercedes was like, if you saw Bottas, he finished 5th or 6th because that's where it predicted to finish because they were so far off the pace on that particular circuit. But then it takes someone like Hamilton, like it also qualifying. What it does is, can you be able to pull something out of the bag and set the fastest lap? How quick are you as a driver?
Which is great. And that's why I should get a point during the race. But I like realistic qualifying. And the most realistic thing you can do is say, okay, we're going to do a 70-lap race on Sunday, right? So let's do a 20-lap race on Saturday. And there's where you prove your shit. There's where you really prove yourself.
Wait, you guys have to set up like more of this. This is great viewing. Just talking F1. Anyone watching this who doesn't know, they're going to be intrigued by it just because you guys are brilliant and you know exactly what you're talking about. I'm out. Big up, guys. I hope you see you guys over the weekend. What a weekend we got in store.
Oh my gosh, we got a big weekend in store.
Yes, mate.
Yeah. Well, I got to say a funny thing. I ran into my old PE teacher who's a diehard Arsenal fan on a walk. I had my United jersey on because we had just played Champions League. He nearly smacked the shit out of me for my jersey. He's like, I fucking hate your jersey.
Yeah.
Take that off. You guys freaking beat Arsenal. I'm like, I know. We've jinxed Arsenal and we've jinxed Chelsea. It's brilliant.
Mate, like, honestly, I get your point. Like, we're going to have to wrap this up.
We got to do a whole stream where we just discuss F1 in general.
Oh, mate, we're going to do a season review, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
After the season.
Season review is going to be like a 2-hour-long review.
I want to do a couple of season reviews because I've got DNF1 Podcast. I want to get them back on at some point and discuss it as well because he's a top quality.
I want to talk to Five Lights as well.
Five Lights as well, yeah, definitely.
He's feeling ill, but I know I'd love to talk to him as well. I feel like those are two guys as well that just know their stuff.
Need to get on a stream together and do a whole general debate for me. But look, for me, like, I'm just hoping that Hamilton wins because as people might sound bitter about it, but I just don't. It's like when Rosberg won his title after what he did in Austria. I just didn't have respect for him. I just didn't.
I can get that. I mean, for me,
I usually buy the season review. I didn't even buy it.
For me, whoever wins, I'll respect. Whoever wins, I'll be happy because I honestly think no matter what, it's one of the greatest seasons in recent memory. So I don't really care who wins. I just would love to see Norris not be at the back of the fucking. I don't want him in the midfield again for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I just wouldn't.
I will say, even though
I just wouldn't accept it after what match
he had the P2. He had the P2 and the 1-2 in Monza. but Bottas slamming into the back of him literally is the reason that he's been the most unlucky driver the second half of the year. That started his quick downfall and being the most unlucky driver in Formula One this year. And I'd also like to end it by saying,
help himself when he told him not to pit.
Yeah. By the way, my thoughts are out. My prayers are out to the Fittipaldi family, of course, with Enzo still recovering from his big crash last weekend.
What was
I don't know if Enzo Fittipaldi.
Enzo Fittipaldi.
Yeah, the Formula 2 race last weekend. I think it was Porsche.
Oh shit!
Porsche stalled, or he either was one who stalled, but the other driver literally came full speed and went straight into the back of him. Shit. And I think Porsche stalled, and Enzo, of course, it was at race start. It was at race start, so it was when they literally started the race on the grid, and Enzo came flying at about 120 into the back.
Those cars safer.
Porsche was fine. He's going to miss the last race, but he's okay. Enzo's currently up in hospital. He's got a laceration on his face, and he's broken his right heel, so he's done for the rest of the season as well. But really good to see, because I'll send you a link to the crash. It was bad, dude.
I'll watch.
It was really bad. It was like a lot of people were super unsure, but then his brother, the other Fittipaldi brother, who's also a driver, posted.
I'll check it out. I'll check it out before the next stream. But Matt thoughts and present. I think they need to do something with those cars, because they need to make them safer after Antoine Hubert and Carrera.
I don't know why they don't have anti-stall. Did you know that?
Yeah, they still had. I did know they had anti-stall. All the cars are fit with anti-stall. But,
no, they don't. I've heard a lot of people saying they don't. That's why he stalled.
They do.
The anti-stall didn't kick in.
Sometimes they don't kick in, and it completely
falls. That's when it gets scary. These cars, Formula 2 and Formula 3 cars, need improvements next year. I think that's a big thing.
I've already said, after Antoine Hubert's crash, F2 and F3 need to make some improvements.
Bro, I still remember the voice of Leclerc after Grosjean's crash of just the no, not again. And my heart, dude, my heart broke when you heard Leclerc, when Grosjean had the fireball incident, dude. You just heard him just go, no, please don't. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're going to leave it there, guys. Don't worry. It's going to be a mega weekend. We got the preview to it. And we're going to just decide who's going to be our driver of the weekend and team of the weekend and that. But that's going to come straight in about 15 minutes, actually. So
I've got to head off, but it was good to see you, man. Great to be on. I'll see you again soon.
All right, no worries. Take care. Everyone stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you soon. And don't worry, the next show is going to give you about 30 minutes long, so it's going to be long as this one.
Yep.
34 minutes long. But until everyone stay safe, stay well, and we'll see you soon. Here comes the Christmassy outro.